This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Well, hello, mate.
Fancy seeing you here, old boy.
Absolutely. You need an haircut, though, I will say
I'm
that.
getting a haircut. Hold on. Just want to give someone a shout out. I'm not getting a free haircut. Well, actually, I haven't had it yet, so I might do. But just want to say, where's this geezer gone? The Mobile Barber Dubai. Going to get a little trim tonight, I think, because this is all over the shop.
What are you getting for Nixies?
No, I want to pay for it, but I was just saying he's been very efficient. It's a good service. I think will come out to you in Dubai. I like to see people do well.
Interesting. Now, I know you kind of float in between continents and countries, but you're out here in the Middle East, out here in Dubai. So, yeah, how was your trip, first of all?
It was good, thank you. Been a lot of travelling lately, but of course, I don't use.
He's come to sign the fight with me, with Leonard Ellerbe, haven't you, Ed? He's come to sign it.
My new trainer.
We're taking over. I'm going to train him to smash Leonard Ellerbe's head in. Fuck Leonard Ellerbe.
Cheers, Dal.
Darren Till, if you didn't know who that was.
We'll come on to that. Been travelling around, obviously, last few weeks around the world. This week, we're getting ready to have discussions, obviously, different countries about upcoming heavyweight contests. Found myself in the Middle East and got invited to this event, and with people like Roberto Duran, Alexander Usyk to catch up with.
Prince Khalid.
So yeah, here and then back to Manchester for a massive end of the year.
Okay, yeah, so see, we're here at the launch of Kombatchain here today. First impressions, it's a lot of information to take in. Obviously, everyone was given an insight into what's been going on regarding Kombatchain, but what was your kind of initial response to kind of what's going on here today?
Well, I'm a newbie to this. I mean, I'd like to think that I was up to speed across NFTs and cryptocurrencies and blockchains, but I'm learning, just probably like you. And there's a clear vision here from these guys to bring the boxing community closer together. I mean, I was sitting up on stage with Richard Schaefer, so anything that gets me and him on the same sofa has got to be encouraging for the boxing space. Just really about, you know, evolving the sport digitally. And I'd love to tell you more. I don't know as much information as a lot of people here, but clearly people who want to invest in the space and the sport of boxing. So popped in to say hello and listen to what they've got to say, and it all sounds very interesting.
What you heard today, and it is always about, the emphasis today was it's about the fighter. That's been your attitude as well over the years, but what kind of opportunities do you see here for fighters to kind of get involved in this initiative?
I think anything that can help a fighter's profile particularly is important. You know, when you talk about the community, particularly in NFTs. NFT is the area of extreme growth in the last 6 months, something we've worked closely across. We did Canelo's NFT around the Billy Joe Saunders fight and multiple other fighters as well. It's an additional way to not only market and promote yourself as an individual, but it's an additional revenue stream as a fighter. I mean, Roy Jones, another fighter we forgot to mention, was up there talking about how he wishes that Terence Crawford, who's also here, you know, talking about the value of an NFT. Terence has one, and Roy was talking about the value of obviously not having one, and how that would have looked in his day and age. But again, just learning and the digital space. As Richard said, when Richard started working in pay-per-view around Floyd Mayweather, a lot of people, you know, were talking about the lack of potential for that project. Us in streaming, you know, 2 or 3 years ago, streaming, what's that? An app? Look at DAZN flying now. And the same across the crypto and digital space. So yeah, I'm waffling on a little bit now because I really don't know as much as some of the people you're going to talk to today. But very interesting, and a lot of big players here from the world of boxing.
Difficult one to answer,
including you,
obviously. Difficult one to answer, but you know when I think it was either Richard Schaefer or Callis Allen talking about even
Callis Allen. There was another one I forgot.
He was on the sofa with you. But when the internet first came on, I suppose everyone was a little bit like, what is this? But obviously that's kind of the biggest game changer of our generation over the last 20 years. But for something like this to work, and I know it's a difficult one to answer because it's like with anything, when it's new and it's kind of relatively untested as well. But what are the sort of key things that will make it work, if that makes sense?
I mean, it's involvement, people's buy-in. I mean, I've forgotten the amount of people who've told me about new crypto ventures and space and stuff like that, but they tell me it is the future. But again, I'm a little bit too old and long in the tooth, even at 42, to be a believer without knowledge. So, whilst Frank Smith, who works for me, invested in a dozen crypto companies, and I laugh at him most of the time. But clearly, when you talk about the growth of the internet, when I was using AOL dial-up back in the day, who would have thought that we would be running our whole life from the internet? So we have to keep an eye on this as a business, and be interesting to see. Obviously, these guys are going to invest a lot of money into the sport of boxing, which, whether that's across fighters, whether that's across sponsorship, whether that's across developmental funds at grassroots level, can only be good news for everybody.
Star-studded lineup here.
Unbelievable.
You're not the most famous man in the room. What?
Abdul Razak.
Absolutely.
And a selfie with him.
Did you really?
I mean, it's unbelievable. You got Roy Jones Jr., Roberto Duran, Alexander Usyk, Terence Crawford, Darren Till just popped in. Yourself, massive name from the world of boxing. Richard Schaefer, Cali Sauer,
Marius Breedis is here.
Marius Breedis, the IBF are here.
Taylor, Josh Taylor, Jack
Josh
Hatcher.
Taylor, undisputed champion. Yeah, so it's a big lineup. And when I heard about it and got the invite, and I was in the Middle East, I'm here for a lovely bit of grub.
See, you posted a little picture of you and
Usyk.
Usyk.
Yeah.
So, good catch up. What does that mean? Are you talking about?
No.
What?
I mean, look, one of the reasons, when I heard Usyk was coming, it's good to sit down and see him and Aegis Klimas. Again, we have to do our work now across this territory to look at potential site deals for Aj-Usyk, Fury against Whyte, and all kinds of different heavyweight fights. And obviously Prince Khalid, you just saw him, is here as well. So that's the predominant reason for the trip. And good to see Alexander Usyk, who's very chilled and getting ready for talks to progress regarding an Anthony Joshua rematch.
Over the last few days, is anything clearer regarding kind of Fury-Whyte, Joshua Usyk 2? Is it any more clearer than it was last week?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the news that the WBC were ordering the Tyson Fury-Dillian Whyte fight kind of put the end to the step-aside discussion, unless that evolves in some way over the next week or so, which doesn't look to be the case. And right now it looks very likely that the two fights will be in play between Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury, and Anthony Joshua against Alexander Usyk. So we have to, obviously, on one hand we have a situation where we have Dillian Whyte fighting Tyson Fury. There's negotiations that have been ordered now, could go to a purse bid if negotiations don't come to a conclusion. And of course there's Alexander Usyk against Anthony Joshua, which we have to work collectively with K2 to ensure that we deliver the best opportunity for the fighters. So meetings here, other countries in the Middle East to look at the potential for where those fights might take place.
How many days exactly have you got left on that with Whyte and Fury?
There was actually no specific date within the correspondence. Normally it would be 28 days of negotiations, but what they'll do is they'll send, as I keep going back to, we have no news on the split of that purse bid. It's very difficult to negotiate a fight when you don't know the split.
So how can you be confident? I've seen a comment from you saying you're confident you can still work a deal out if you don't know the split.
I'm confident we can get a deal together, providing we feel it's a fair reflection of Dillian Whyte's value and history in terms of his position of waiting for that fight. It's very clear. The high end of the interim champion is 55-45. Top Rank have already been campaigning for an 80-20. Obviously, if they come forward with an offer at that level, it's not acceptable to us. But we're not looking to be difficult or clever. Dillian Whyte wants to get his opportunity to fight for the world heavyweight title. But if the offer is not what we believe and Dillian believes to be a fair reflection of his value, we will go to purse bids and make sure he gets a fair reflection of his value. So, long way to go, and we'll see where it goes.
Chances of both those fights taking place in the UK?
Good chance. I mean, look, we're here because we have to do our work and we have to speak to many different countries that are going to be making offers to stage big heavyweight fights. That's our job. We have to do that on behalf of the fighters. But, Fury against Whyte, whether that's Millennium Stadium, whatever, AJ against Usyk, maybe back at Spurs, Wembley, very good chance that will be the location for those two fights.
Let's move on to Conor Benn. Obviously, such a stunning knockout win against Chris Algieri over the weekend in Liverpool. yeah, it's always after one of his fights, everyone's like, seems to be, I don't know if they're pushing him up to like a Virgil Ortiz, Boots Ennis type person, which I know you're going to say he's not ready for. The name of David Evanesian keeps coming up, but you, I'm assuming, are still in that little building phase with Conor where you want to probably see him have at least one more of these fights.
I think that Conor Benn is showing every time that he fights that he's at a level, you know, when I got into the ring, you know, he normally does his normal attack on everybody and me in general at the press conference where he said, you saying I'm not top 5? I said, no, I think you are, but I just want to get it right. And, you know, he will move as quickly as he can, right? But at the same time, Conor will move as quickly as he can. I will move at the pace that Tony Sims and the team want me to move at. If it's up to me, Virgil Ortiz, Jaron Ennis, I mean these are guys that are as good as Terence Crawford and Spence, or you know, I believe could compete with those. Conor's not quite ready for that level yet. I think he's 2 fights away from fighting for the World Welterweight Championship. Algeria was a perfect fight and it was a brilliant performance. So I just want to get it right because I really believe we have a global star in Conor Benn, and you don't get any props for making a mistake or rushing. Do you know what I mean? But we need to find the level now between Algeria and Crawford, and I think there's 2 levels to that, to be honest with you. So yeah, we need a good fight for him next. Adrian Broner is a great fight, whether that fight gets made or not. But it was a brilliant performance, and the kid's a superstar.
Alexander Usyk made some comments about Canelo. I mean,
he says he's a handsome man. Yeah, I think. What do you want me to say? What's your question? He made some comments.
Well, he's made some.
Yes, he did.
I asked you about that. You thought about a couple of months ago. You thought I was off my head.
I think Canelo would fight Usyk. I mean, I think obviously it'd have to be an agreeable weight, and I can't see Alexander Usyk coming back down to cruiserweight. But you know, I personally feel that I know there's discussions about Canelo and Makabu. I personally think that Canelo Alvarez should look to become undisputed at 175. I think he can do it. To be undisputed in 2 different weight classes would be incredible, and you know, I think that is a move that's very exciting. But you know, like I said, I'll be sitting down with Saul and Eddie Reynoso over the next couple of weeks, put my thoughts and offers to him, and we'll see what he wants to do. I'm sure he'll get plenty of other offers as well.
And obviously, you're going to continue working alongside him.
Sorry, that's again?
You're going to continue to work alongside Sal?
Love to. Look, he's not. I get on very well with Sal and Eddie Reynoso, but it's not a case of, you know, they're just going to work with me if there's a better opportunity elsewhere. But it's my job to make sure that we provide the best opportunities. We know that we're the best promotional company out there for him, but we have to show him the right path, and hopefully we can do that in early January.
Bob Arum made some comments. He said that Joe Smith and Beterbiev are interested in having that fight with Canelo as well.
I'm sure, yeah. Look, everybody around that weight class, you know, looks at those guys. You know, they look at Canelo Alvarez as the big opportunity, the big money fight. So whether you're Dimitri Bivol, whether you're Joe Smith, whether you're Artur Beterbiev, you hope that Canelo Alvarez will give you that call to give you the opportunity to be involved in a mega fight.
Terence Crawford's down now.
Yeah.
Had a chat with him?
Yeah, I saw Terence, said hello. Hi, mate. Yeah. No,
you're good.
No. I was just wondering what you were doing, but you're just listening. Yeah. No worries. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Yeah, so Terence Crawford, always great to see him. Great fighter. You know, I just think it's hard with Terence because I think he's the best welterweight in the world. But at the same time, where are the fights that can generate the kind of money that he wants? And really, that's Errol Spence. And I think you're going to see Errol Spence move up to 154 to avoid Terence Crawford. Avoid's maybe a harsh word, but strategically avoid. And I feel a bit sorry for Terence Crawford, not in some ways, but in the ways of I think he wants to create that legacy opportunity, and I think I'm not sure it will be there for him.
Lomachenko, did you watch it?
No, I haven't seen it, no. I saw the knockdown, and I saw him telling the corner to stop it. But good, listen, great fight, amazing fight.
He's still a player in that division.
Good, listen, he might be the best lightweight in the world, but I just feel that you've got that quartet at the moment, which is Tank, Haney, Kambosos, and Garcia, and I think you're going to see those fights happen before Lomachenko gets in that mix. However, I believe that Bob's trying to make him mandatory with the WBO, which ultimately will mean he'll get his shot at some point. But I think the undisputed fight will take place first between Devin Haney and Kambosos, and I think by Bob trying to put that Lomachenko mandatory in place, it actually helps us, because I'll tell you something now, Kambosos would much rather fight Devin Haney for the undisputed than make just the mandatory defence against Lomachenko. I have no doubts that Kambosos or Devin Haney would both fight Lomachenko, but the undisputed fight should always take preference, and hopefully we get that made next.
Khan Brooks sold out in 600 seconds.
How many?
600 seconds.
600 seconds.
Press release.
Yeah. It's a good fight, and it's a good sized venue for it. I know it's nice to see other people getting criticism about secondary market tickets rather than me sometimes. This is, as I said, this is what happens when it's a fight with demand, and it's always going to sell out Manchester Arena, and it's a big British fight.
Okay, we've got obviously Manchester this week.
Yes.
New opponent for Jack Cullen.
Yeah, this is an interesting situation. Jack Cullen's got some big set of bollocks on him. So his opponent, Emery Kuka, who was the mandatory challenger, pulled out with a hand injury. We went down the list and we got to France's undefeated fighter, who was 18-0 with 16 knockouts. It's twice as hard a fight as the Kuka fight, and I actually thought it might be worth just waiting for Kuka and just defending Jack's regional IBF belt, and he went, no, I want the European title. So fair play to Jack Lever. He's got an absolute war on his hands this weekend. He has sold unbelievable amount of tickets. We should have somewhere between 11 and 12,000 in there this weekend for the Chisora fight. The atmosphere is going to be incredible, but that Cullen fight is a brilliant, brilliant fight. It's going to be an absolute war.
Can you give us any details regarding vaccination, regarding the event this week?
Yeah, just as per the government, and actually not a lot changes because a lot of venues have this in place anyway. To attend the event, you have to be double vaccinated or have a negative lateral flow test.
The booster, that part hasn't come into play yet, has it?
I don't believe so, no. But for this weekend, and this is the same actually for the O2, even before these new regulations went in place, and a lot of venues that around the country, darts as well, included Alexander Palace. So that was a rule from some venues, but now it's a blanket rule by the government to say fully vaccinated or negative test to get into the event.
You know this Ellerbe stuff, is this a get-up? Is it you texting each other about it? What? I don't buy into it. Like this you and Ellerbe thing, like, I don't know, just saying right with it.
What
Do
thing?
you seriously want to like punch your head in?
I don't know. Yeah. I actually have people come out to me going, are you going to do it? Are you going to do the Ellerbe fight? I'm like, no. What are you talking about?
You said it though.
What?
You
I wasn't joking. I said,
No, but after people take you seriously.
I suppose that's the problem. No, I think it's good, really.
Have you pictured it?
Someone said to me earlier, what did you say to Leonard Ellerbe to make him like that? And I said that I think Devin Haney's fight's bigger than Tank's. I did say they had bad dress sense and bad shoes. But that's not I mean, you've got bad dress sense and bad shoes.
What's wrong with my shoes?
They're terrible. Mate, they are terrible. Louis
What?
Vuitton.
What are they?
Mate, these
No,
are
what are the shoes? Clarks.
They're not.
Shout out Clarks.
Smart black shoes to wear with a whistle.
Okay. They're not all for at all. They're not all for at all. Mate.
But listen, if
Anyway.
I said to you, mate, lovely geezer, terrible clobber, you wouldn't say
I'm
to
going to punch
me,
you anyway.
man, he comes within 10 feet of me, I'm going to knock that motherfucker out. You know what I mean? So, what can you do?
What can you do?
Please everyone.
Right, absolutely not. Eddie, have you got anything else you'd like to add before we finish?
No, I'll see you in Manchester. Roll on Chisora Parker 2. Gongora against Lerone Richards, great fight. Zelfa Barrett against Tarimo, great fight. Of course, Jack Cullen. Babbage added to that card as well. Brilliant card in Manchester, and can't wait to see Del Boy go at Joseph Parker for 12 rounds of war, although I believe it will not go 12 rounds this time. I believe we'll get a stoppage in Manchester on Saturday.
Sergio Martinez is here.
Sergio Martinez is there, our partner on Kiko Martinez.
Okay. Eddie, thank you very much, and we'll catch up with you soon.